Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today I bring you a powerful and mysterious tale, a story whispered through generations, carried by the wind, and remembered by the spirits themselves. This is the legend of Mboro, the peaceful village that vanished into silence, falling into a deep magical sleep that lasted 100 long years. But behind this strange and haunting event lies the journey of one boy, a curious soul whose single decision changed the fate of every person he loved. A journey filled with wonder, regret, courage, and sacrifice. So sit back, relax, and let your imagination travel with me. This is The Village That Slept for 100 Years. A tale about time, consequences, and the true strength of the human heart. The village of Mboro was small, quiet, and peaceful, hidden between two tall mountains and surrounded by a thick forest that always whispered with the wind. The people of Mboro were kind, hardworking, and faithful to their traditions. They farmed their land, fished in their river, and honored the spirits of the forest every full moon. The villagers believed that their home was protected by the spirit of time, an ancient being who watched over the land and kept away disasters. Every year, the villagers offered fruits, grains, and water to honor this spirit. But there was one rule the elders repeated again and again. No one must ever touch the old hourglass kept in the shrine at the center of the village. The hourglass was tall, made of black stone and shining glass, and filled with golden sand that never stopped glowing. The elders said the hourglass had the power to hold back time, to protect the village from anything that might destroy it. But the same power that protected Mboro could also harm it if touched by careless hands. For generations, everyone obeyed the rule. That is, until the year when the villager named Mboro turned 16. Mboro was curious, more curious than anyone else in Mboro. He liked to explore the forest, climb the mountains, and ask questions that even the elders could not answer. His grandmother used to warn him gently, "Curiosity is good, Mboro, but only when guided by wisdom." Mboro always nodded, but inside him lived a hunger to understand everything. One night, a strange dream visited him. In the dream, the hourglass glowed brighter than the sun, and a voice whispered, "Time belongs to the brave." When Mboro woke, he could still hear the whisper in his ears. He tried to forget it, but the voice returned again the next night, saying the same words. On the third night, the voice whispered something new, "Come to me." Mboro decided to go to the shrine during the next full moon, when everyone else would be busy praying. The night was silent. The moon was bright. The villagers faced the river, singing their songs, while Mboro quietly slipped away. He moved through the shadows, his heart beating fast. When he reached the shrine, the hourglass stood before him like a tall guardian, its golden sand glowing softly. Mboro touched the smooth glass with just one finger. The world went silent. Then the hourglass shook. The sand inside began to spin wildly, faster and faster, until it became a storm of gold. A bright light burst out, blinding Mboro. He felt something pull him back like a great wind. His eyes closed by force. When he opened them again, everything was still. Everything was quiet. Mboro ran outside the shrine. At first he saw nothing strange. The moon was still shining. The trees stood still. But when he reached the riverbank, he froze. The villagers were not singing anymore. They were still. Completely still. Frozen in place as if turned into statues. Mboro called to his mother. She did not blink. He touched his grandmother's hand. It was warm but unmoving. It felt as if they were asleep but not breathing like normal sleepers. They were trapped in a silent dream. Mboro's knees grew weak. He looked around in fear. The whole village was asleep, an unnatural, deep, heavy sleep. He ran back to the shrine and tried to shake the hourglass, hoping to undo what he had done, but the hourglass did not move. Its glow faded until it became completely dark. The spirit of time had closed its eyes. Mboro was alone. Days passed. Then weeks. Mboro lived alone among the silent people. He left food beside their houses, even though he knew they could not eat. He lit lamps for them at night and spoke to them so he would not lose his mind. After some time he began to age. At 18 he was taller. At 25 he had become strong from working alone. He hunted, farmed, and protected the village from wandering animals. And all this time the people of Mboro slept on, unchanged. Ero grew into a man while the village remained frozen in the same moment. He tried many times to escape the valley, but the mountains surrounding Mboro held a strange mist that made him fall asleep whenever he approached. When he turned back home, he would wake up safely inside the village again, as if the spirit of time refused to let him leave. Ero realized the truth. He was being punished, and he was being protected, both at the same time. Years turned into decades. Ero's hair began to gray. His steps slowed. But he never stopped searching for a solution. One night, when Ero was nearly 60, he had another dream. In it, the spirit of time appeared as a giant figure made of silver mist. The spirit spoke gently, like a father talking to his child. Ero, your touch set the village outside the flow of time. The people sleep because time does not move for them. Only you remain awake because your spirit is tied to your mistake. Ero knelt in the dream. Please tell me how to fix it. You must return the golden sand to its rightful path, the spirit said. But the hourglass will only accept the sand again when the heart of the one who broke it is ready. Ero looked down sadly. How will I know when I am ready? When you no longer seek to fix the world for yourself, the spirit said. When you are willing to give up your life for those who sleep. The dream ended, but Ero carried the words in his heart like a burning torch. Another 20 years passed. Ero grew old and weak. His back bent. His hands shook. His breath was slow. He knew his time was ending. One evening he crawled to the shrine, leaning on his walking stick. The hourglass stood before him, cold and dark. He placed his hand on it and whispered, I have spent my whole life trying to undo my mistake. If my life is needed to return time to my people, then take it. The golden sand inside the hourglass flickered. Ero felt his heart slowing, but he did not pull back. Let them wake again, he said. Let them live again. I am ready. The hourglass glowed bright, brighter than it ever had. The shrine filled with warm light. Ero felt a great peace settle over him. His breath grew softer. Then, with a final spark of golden fire, the hourglass came alive. The sand inside began to fall once more. And at that moment, the people of Mboro opened their eyes. To them, not a single second had passed. To them, Ero was still a boy who had slipped away during the full moon prayer. They looked around in confusion, seeing nothing wrong. But when they reached the shrine, they found Ero lying peacefully beside the hourglass. He looked old, very old, yet peaceful, like someone who had finally finished a long journey. The elders examined the hourglass and saw that the golden sand inside now flowed normally. Balanced, calm. The village wept for Ero, for they understood that he had saved them. No one knew what he had suffered. No one knew he had lived alone for 100 years. But the spirit of time knew. And the mountains knew. And the wind that carried through the valley knew. They buried Ero on the highest hill overlooking Mboro. Every year, on the day the village awoke, the people held a celebration in his honor. They told his story to their children and their children's children. Ero, the boy who touched time. Ero, the man who spent a lifetime giving back what he had taken. Ero, the guardian of Mboro. And so the village that slept for 100 years learned the greatest lesson of all. Time is precious, but the heart of a person is even more powerful. Thank you for watching this powerful tale of courage, sacrifice, and destiny. The story of Mboro reminds us that even the smallest choices can shape the future, and that true bravery sometimes means giving everything for the people we love. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to like the video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who loves folktales and legends. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe for more stories filled with mystery, magic, and deep emotion. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and keep your heart open to the wonders of the world. See you in the next story.